Welcome to ET Studios. Today I'm joined by Tejinder Gill, MD of Trade Desk India. Welcome, Tejinder.
Thank you, Varun. Pleasure to be here.
Congratulations on completing 4 years in the Indian market.
Yes.
But for some of us, words like programmatic, biddable media, as well as addressable are still very vague and have very undefined associations. If you were to share a simple analogy for what programmatic advertising is for our audiences.
Yeah, sure, Varun. I think I hear this question a lot. I think ad tech has given only jargons to the industry, I always believe. Just to simplify, from a layman perspective, I was talking to my dad the other day, and I asked him, how were you used to buy stocks 5 decades ago? And he was always used to say, agent was used to come, I was used to give him a check for whatever, 10 rupees per stock of Bank of Baroda. And then my next question was, how was you used to track it? And he said, I had to open up the newspaper, flip through certain pages, look at for the stock of Bank of Baroda, multiply it by the units, and see, yeah, this is the wealth I have. And today, fast forward 5 decades, and we have amazing platforms like Zerodha, Grow, where everything is available in a technology platform. You can put your min price, max price, data, trends, and make a very informed decision as a buyer. I think that's exactly what programmatic is today. And I think programmatic is all about choice. And the price is actually getting decided by the buyer and the seller, depending on the quality of audiences. So just to simplify, I think that is probably the closest analogy I can give.
It's a very interesting analogy. And if I take it further, today we all buy stocks right from our mobiles.
Yes.
Are you saying that marketers are moving to a place where they can not only be involved in the planning stage, but also the buying journey?
Yeah, 100% right, Varun. So I started my digital journey with Yahoo almost 20 years ago. At that time, programmatic concept never existed. So the only way you had to buy media was through a IO mechanism, which was insertion order. So a buyer was used to sign the insertion order and fax it to us at those times, and we used to block the inventory. And that has evolved. And where it has come now is everything is on real-time bidding, right? That's the true form of programmatic. It is not buying inventory at a fixed price, at a fixed set of impressions. It is about real-time buying the right audiences at the right price, right, at the right time. And second thing is, I think automation has also evolved. 10 years ago, we all heard a lot about automation. And now automation plus technology is helping evolve programmatic, right? That's where it is probably headed. And I think luckily, we are a technology platform which helps you get access to 5,000 plus publishers under one roof. And the biggest challenge I feel marketers had in India was lack of choice, and I think fragmentation. There was a need for a technology player to come and make the ease of buying very, very simple in media, right? And that is the role we are trying to play. And when it comes to technology, just to give you a flavor, we actually process 1 trillion ad opportunities per day, which is 100 times more than the search volumes, right? So that is the scale and the technology we bring to the table. And we almost process like 50 million ad impressions per second, right? So looking at that kind of a volume, which is probably much higher than even a stock market, daily transactions, programmatic has a role to play. And I think it will only simplify the world of marketers and bring the ease to make the right choices in the ecosystem.
20 years you've had a ringside view in the digital media ecosystem.
Yep.
You've seen programmatic evolve from its early days of display. And today there are a lot more formats, a lot more premium options for advertisers. How are more advertisers coming in because of this evolution of programmatic?
That's a great question. I think we launched Trade Desk 4 years ago. And I think thanks to the love of all the partners, all the advertiser agencies. And I think I'm proud to say that we are literally synonymous with premium open internet today in India. And a lot of time people ask me, what does that mean? So anything outside of the walled gardens, everything falls under a single umbrella of open internet. For that, all OTT, CTV, digital out of home, audio, right? And why that is becoming more and more important is because of one main thing. The consumer trends have shifted post COVID. Thanks to time that we spent at home, we have gone more clued onto OTTs, audio, right? Now, everything opening up, digital out of home has become more important. So time spent is getting bigger. Second, the most important thing that we have realized is comparison between UGC and broadcasted content. I personally feel there is so much of content and money being spent on journalism and great content that deserves the right value in the market ecosystem. And to share that versus the other side of the thing is very UGC led, which is sometimes not brand safe, sometimes not the perfect one, but broadcasted content is becoming the core. And more marketers are seeing that value. UGC is more towards going towards more cheap reach kind of a mechanism versus I would say broadcasted content is going towards the right value, right, for a marketer. And what we have seen is when it comes to the age group of 18 to 35 kind of young audiences, they are 27% more likely to consume content on OTT CTV versus social media, right? So that's another consumer trend that we are seeing the shift on. And very interestingly, what premium open internet has to deliver today is three things, right? Right audiences, full funnel marketing, and measurability. And Trade Desk as a technology platform is bringing the ease and the convenience with choices to the table by building a great marketplace.
Fantastic. In your 4 years journey in this market, you would have met marketeers who are satisfied with being in the big tech ecosystems.
Yeah.
What would be your say to those marketeers why they need to leverage the opportunities created by the open internet?
Yeah, sure. Great question. I would say a couple of things. One is the opportunity outside of walled gardens is massive. I don't know if I have to take a very simple example of your this morning. I don't know which are the apps you explored while coming for this venue. It could be Spotify in the car. It could be a Truecaller where you would have got the first call. It could be NDTV where you could have got the news. All this is the part of the open ecosystem. So I think that's one of the reasons why marketers should explore. Second is how open internet can be measured is you can pick up the learning of one platform on another. How you have chosen your audiences and product on one platform, let's say Spotify, you can actually reapply the learnings on Times Internet, right? So it's a two-way process so that it works for the marketers to optimize towards the same goals. The third one is, I think technology has a bigger role to play. Walled gardens have tried to do things within their four walls. However, the outside ecosystem is so big and it brings a fair valuation on the table, right? So you use measurement partners, data partners, inventory partners on the stage who all want to serve the same objective for the marketers versus the big tech.
Today, AI is the flavor of the season. Marketers are using it and platforms are talking about it.
Yeah.
But when you talk about real world benefits of using AI, especially in terms of media efficiency and effectiveness,
Yes.
what are the outcomes that you've seen?
Sure, I think AI is the future, no doubt about it, Varun, but we strongly feel that especially in a country like India, we'll have to use the right balance of man versus machine, I call it as. So you will need machines to process a lot of amount of data to bring the right data on the table. But the strategic decisions has still to be taken by man, right? Which means the best combination has to work. And it'll be a co-pilot kind of a role that AI will play, especially in the media industry. And I think where we have leveraged AI the best is we have got amazing platform which is driven through AI and machine learning. And the biggest use case for marketers is real-time outcomes, right? You can very clearly set up the right objectives in the system with the right KPIs, and the system will get optimized towards those core goals and then deliver you what is needed for your business to move the needle. And that's why we are becoming literally not only the favorite platform for marketers, but a lot of CEOs and CFOs are challenging those things, saying we are putting so much of money in black boxes, but what is the real outcome we are getting? And I think that's the shift we are trying to bring in India, and we have got so many stories with partners like Pepsi and some of the large FMCG companies, where just using AI, we have delivered efficiencies around 14 to 16%, targeting them the right audiences at the right place.
India is an interesting market. Only now we have digital media is taking up a lion's share of the advertising pie. How do you the automation never works in India completely. Enablement is what usually works. How do you look at the entire piece?
Yeah, I was talking to somebody very senior in one of the largest holding companies and agencies. So they're building towards tool on both sides, like the planning side, the execution side, and also on the measurability side, right? And if you think about it, I don't think so we can solve everything in one shot. We are building some of the best-in-class tools for the planning of some of the big FMCG companies, and then without any human intervention, how we can automate it and make a campaign run without a human intervention, just to simplify it for you. And I think the bigger things which are yet to be cracked is how can we measure till the last mile, right? And that's why some of these emerging trends would be coming in India, which will literally disrupt the entire ecosystem.
I'm glad you brought up trends, because there was the decade of print, the decade
Yes.
of TV, and now it's the decade of digital. What are some of the trends that marketers should really be aware of when looking at digital advertising?
Yeah, I think 24 was a great year, and 25 is probably few days away. I think few things that marketers should look out for next year. One is probably the Google antitrust case, like how, let's see how that unveils next year, depending on the kind of hearings that are happening in US. So good for marketers to keep an eye on that. I would say that's exciting. Second is retail data. So if you look at partners like Zeptos and Big Baskets of the world, how can retail data be leveraged in a consent-based marketing era, right? I think that's the next lever of growth, which will help marketers to measure the last mile outcomes. Third, which is very close to my heart, is CTV. We have roughly around 35 to 40 million CTV households today, but there's a massive headroom to grow. That number looks to be, I think, something in the range of 220 to 250 million households. Like that's the linear household number today in the country. So imagine that is like 5-fold market yet to be covered, thanks to cheap 5G connections, more data penetration happening, broadband connectivity. All this should fuel that growth of CTV. Fourth one in my head is live sports programmatically, right? We are still talking about programmatic as an era, but I think the next 5 years would be how can we think of serving the best-in-class football matches, cricket, IPL, everything programmatically. Right now, we look out for a sponsorship, but as this entire era becomes more data-driven, programmatically in live sports will have a massive, massive role to play. And probably last one is data. I think data is the king, but I think compliance and activation will remain the key. Looking at how our government is looking at data at a very serious node and how we want to stay ahead, I think that is a big, big role to play. And marketers need to start thinking about building their own first-party data strategies so that they can talk to the customers when they want, and they can know the needs of the customer to capture a lion's share. So probably these are 4 or 5 trends I feel would probably good to watch for in 2025.
Absolutely. Looks like exciting times ahead.
Yes,
Thank you for
thank you.
sharing your views, Tejinder.
Thank you, Varun. Thank you for hosting me here. Love the experience.
Thank
you. Bye-bye.